hope this finds you all doing so well. Happy Friday, right? Today, as you join me, oh, there we go. All right, today, as you join in, whether you're live or on the replay, as you know, I love to know that you're here. So leave a comment below and tell me what you're excited about in your business. I have asked that before, but I love to hear from you guys. So tell me one thing. Maybe there's a new part of your program that you're working on. Maybe you're launching something new this year. Tell me what is new for you and what you're excited about in your business right now, okay? And today we are going to talk specifically about marketing, of course, and specifically we're going to talk about what is the cost to you and to your business if you do not market your horse business, right? If you choose not to invest, what is that going to cost you? All right. We're going to talk about the things that may be keeping you from investing in your marketing and then what it can cost you in the short term and the long term. All right. Okay. Sorry about that, friends. I had to get a quick drink. Okay, so let's dive in. Like I said, as you're here, say hello. But let's talk about that real cost of not marketing your equestrian business, okay? Now, as you know, leave your comments. I will get to those as we go through or as I go back. And if you're watching the replay, I definitely am paying attention to your comments and your questions, all right? So I have a question for you. What is keeping you from stepping into the role of equestrian entrepreneur and really claiming yourself as a marketer and to making the decision that you're going to become the marketer that you need to be for your horse business? Okay. What is it that's keeping you from taking ownership of the role of equestrian entrepreneur and becoming the marketer that you need to be for your horse business? Now, I've been paying attention to online conversations, to conversations that I am having with potential clients, with one-on-one coaching clients and website clients, and the things that they have been telling me, and I've been taking notes, all right? So I want to hear from you the answer to your question, but I'm going to share with you some answers that I have seen and see if it resonates with you, all right? So if this is you, if you hear me say something and you're like, yep, that's me, then let me know. Jump into the comments and tell me, all right? So first of all, are you not taking ownership of the role of equestrian entrepreneur because you're saying, I don't have time? Now, let's be real. Every single entrepreneur has the issue of time and figuring out time management, right? So for you, maybe it's, I have too many horses in the barn. I have too much client work. I can't even keep up with my paperwork right now. I've got too many orders to fill because I sell equestrian products. I have a family, right? I have other things beside my business. And I just flat out feel like I do not have time to do marketing and especially to do it well. So if that's you, let me know. Or perhaps you're saying, Denise, I literally don't know where to start. I have no idea what's out there. I've seen lots of different information, but I don't know where to start. I get horses, I get training, I get riding, right? I get the horse stuff, but marketing, social media, it's an anomaly to me. And if that's you, let me know that as well. Or perhaps you would say, Denise, it's paralysis analysis. I have seen so much information. I have tried to learn. I have tried to DIY it. I've watched the YouTube videos. I've read the blog post. I've listened to your podcast, but I still, at the end of the day, just can't wrap my head around the next steps. And I'm paralyzed by all the information that's out there. And so you talk about clarity, but I just can't find it. Or maybe you would say, Denise, honestly, I just want to play with horses all day. I just want to teach lessons. I just want to take photos. I just want to blank, whatever it is, the thing that you love to do, the reason that you started your horse business, you're saying, I just want to do that. And that's keeping you from owning the role of business owner, like we talked about before, right? And here's the good news. It really is good news. It is possible because I've seen it happen. I watch it happen over again. It is possible to both do the things that you love and learn how to market your horse business so that you can do those things for the long term, right? So that what you love to do now, what you're getting paid to do as the thing that maybe started as your hobby and you loved it so much it became your business, you can continue to do that and still get a strategic marketing plan in place. All right. Now, the other good news is you do not have to do that alone. And we'll talk more about that later and what that looks like in the coaching program that I have for you. But for now, I just want you to remember that the best horses all have trainers, right? So that means it's okay and it's a good thing to invest in your business, to get coaching, to get outside help, right? You don't have to do it all alone. And frankly, you shouldn't try to do it all alone, okay? So back to what's keeping you from taking that action, right? What's keeping you from investing in your marketing? What's keeping you from consistently showing up, from making a plan to show up consistently, right? From really honing in on your website and your messaging and your email marketing, all of those things. What is keeping you from doing that? We talked about some general areas, and I want to hear which resonates with you, but there's one that I didn't mention that's a real biggie. And again, as entrepreneurs, it's a normal feeling, right? And that is fear. There are many fears that we face as business owners. That is not abnormal, but is fear the one that's keeping you from really stepping into that role of entrepreneur and saying, I'm going to be the marketer I need to be for my horse business? So what does that look like? Because you may be saying, Denise, I wouldn't really say I'm afraid, but there's just a few things that are holding me back. Well, let me tell you a few of the fears that I've seen and heard, all right? Number one, it's the fear of showing up online. Like literally showing your face freaks you out, right? Or maybe it's the fact of not just showing your face, but actually talking about what matters to you. Talking about how selling, number one, right? Talking about how you help people, trying to sell, but even that, talking about what sets you apart. What makes you different in the equine industry, and actually having to share about yourself in some capacity is freaking you out, right? You're like, I cannot show up as myself online. Here's the thing. You don't have to do it at the same level as what you might be seeing other people do. Okay. So you might see what someone else does and say, I could never do that. Number one, don't tell yourself I could never. But number two, remember, my encouragement to you is always going to be to stay in your lane. Do what is authentic to you. Now, I'm going to encourage you and push you to, if you want results, right, to be willing to get uncomfortable. Absolutely. So I'm not saying it's okay, don't worry about it, you never have to do that. I'm going to encourage you to get uncomfortable because that's how we're going to make progress in our businesses. However, I'm also going to let you do it in a way that feels authentic to you and to your business. Let you. Obviously, you're making that choice yourself, but I'm going to encourage you to do it in a way that makes sense to you, that feels authentic to you and to your business. Now, maybe your fear is the content. That is something I see and hear often. Denise, I'm on board, but I just don't know what to say. I literally have no ideas. I say the same thing all the time. I don't know how to sell. I don't want to create trending reels and try to spend my time figuring those things out. Now, here's my first word to that, I can't, right? And I love this quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's by Henry Ford. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's such a good one for us all to remember. When you tell yourself that you can't, then you can't, right? But if you step back and say, all right, I can't do that yet, or I don't know how yet, so I'm coming to you to teach me, right? Those are two very different things, okay? So rather than sitting in the fear of I can't, let's pass that and instead say, I can't yet, but I'm willing to learn, right? There's a huge difference there. Now, perhaps fear that's keeping you from really becoming and holding on to that title of equestrian entrepreneur and becoming the marketer that you need to be for your horse business. Maybe it's the fear of investing money in yourself or in your business. Because again, that means it's real, right? It's a real business when you're not just buying horses or buying tack or things like that seem like it's just all part of the hobby, right? Or buying gear if you're a photographer. But when you really actually invest in your business and you put some money behind that, you put your money where your mouth is, it definitely can be scary. There's some fear associated with that. Am I going to get the return on my investment? What is that return that I'm expecting, right? What does that look like? But I will tell you this, and I have experienced it myself when I very first started Storm Lily Marketing, and back when it was Storm Lily Solutions, which if you heard me a couple of weeks ago, you heard that story. I also made the choice to invest in my business, and it was very scary. But I knew that I needed to put a stake in the ground, and it was going to help me to make the commitments I needed to make, to have the accountability that I wanted to have to make the progress in my business. And so it's the same for you, right? When you invest in yourself and when you invest in your business, then your accountability level goes up, right? It's the same reason that people go to a personal trainer, right? They could just go to the gym. They could just go outside and go for a run, but we want the expertise and we want the accountability. And that is what happens when you join a coaching program as well, or when you hire a business coach or a marketing coach. You have the expertise, you have the accountability, you have the tools, you have what you need to really make progress in that area of your business that you maybe up until now have not been prioritizing. So I understand the fear of not stepping into that, but I also understand what's possible when you do. And it's the same for you, right? What's possible when you streamline your messaging, when you get clear on your audience, when you create a plan for social media and you stick to it, when you email your list on a monthly basis, on a regular basis. I know it's possible because I've seen it. I've seen the sales that come in from that. I have seen the new clients that are signed up, the digital products that are sold, the connections that are built that would not have happened without those things happening first, right? And so that's the potential that's there when you choose to invest in your business in that way. Now, one more fear that I often hear that is keeping you, that may be keeping you from moving forward as a marketer for your business, and that is the fear of overwhelm. The fear of hearing and seeing all these things like I just mentioned, right? I have to do social media. I have to do, but you don't have to do any of these things. You get to choose, right? But that feeling is I have to do email. I have to do social media. I have to have a website. I have to do this. I have to do that. Plus I have to run my business. Plus I have to be profitable, right? All of those things. And I will say that is why I am so passionate about breaking down marketing for equestrians and for equestrian entrepreneurs to simplify that, because marketing does not have to be complicated. It does not have to be overwhelming. And so I am definitely here to help simplify that for you so that you can find the way that works best for you, and you can do it in the way that works best for you. Okay. So I hope that first covering these fears of what may be keeping you from taking action in your marketing, from actually marketing your horse business, I hope that that encourages you and helps you to know, A, you're not alone. I have heard these before. I've seen these before. And B, there are solutions that will help you, right? And that you can do it. So let's talk about if you don't. If you are saying, I hear you, but I'm just not going to right now. Let's talk about what's the cost of not taking action. Okay, so my first question to you is, what does 2023 look like for you this year? What does this year look like for you if you don't take action, right? If you do not get a plan in place and invest in your business? What's that going to look like? What's your year going to look like? What about next year? What about 2024? You're like, Denise, I'm booked for 2023. I feel good. What's your plan for 2024? How are you going to do those? What about 2025? How are people going to find you in the future? Here's the deal. If you're overwhelmed and fearful when it comes to marketing, the fear is not just going to magically go away, and the overwhelm is not going to magically go away, right? The only way to break through your fears and move towards confidence and marketing your horse business is to put a stake in the ground, to literally take that action, right? We learn when we do. It becomes clear as we do, right? So we have to make that decision. And so what if you don't make that decision, right? What is not taking action going to cost you? So we've talked about what your year might look like if you don't take action. Let's get very practical, okay? So I know that across the board the past few years, we know that the horse industry has been doing really well, right? The demand is there. For many of you, you're saying, Denise, I haven't had to market yet. Word of mouth has been really good. In person, it has been really good to me. And that's great. I'm super happy for you. But what about when it's not? What about when the industry changes over time, when things slow down? Because eventually everything does, right? Every industry ebbs and flows. What are you going to do then to market your business? I don't want you to wait until it's too late to have that plan in place. I don't want you to do it out of fear. I want you to do it proactively. What if you're somebody who's saying, Denise, things have been going so well, I want to create a membership. I want to get on Patreon and have people pay to get my content. I want to do in-person events and clinics. I want to do online workshops, right? All of these things, guess what? They all require marketing. You're going to need to have a marketing strategy in place. You're going to need to know who you're talking to, have clarity on your offer, and how you're going to get that message across. So what happens if you don't do a marketing strategy in some way? Then when it's time to get your membership created, how are you going to promote it? Who's the audience that you're getting it out to? Now, you may have a group of people right now that you're like, Denise, they're invested, but attrition is natural, right? So if you're going to create a membership, then you're going to need to be promoting it on a regular basis. You're going to need to get new members in the door on a regular basis. And marketing is how you're going to do that, right? And if you don't, if you say, I think I can just do it, I don't need to do marketing, then you can be missing out on a lot of money. Like, let's just be frank. You could be missing out on a lot of money and what's possible when you expand your reach with online marketing and build those connections online. Now, last year, I had Barbara Schulte, a world champion cutting horse trainer, on my podcast, and she mentioned something that has stuck with me because she is a successful and was a successful horse trainer, but now she also has a lot of online education and in-person events. And she talked about how her email list has been such a big part of that. And she said something to the tune, I don't know the exact line, right? But to the tune of, at some point, horse trainers are going to want to retire. At some point, as a horse trainer, you realize this is hard on your body and you want to have a backup plan. And so that's why she invested so heavily in her email list and her online education and her digital products and workshops and things like that, because she can take the expertise that she has gained over the years and teach that to others that are coming up. And that's a flow of income for her in her business. And so just imagine if Barbara was ignoring the potential of an email list, if she was ignoring the potential of social media to connect with thousands of people across the country that are interested in learning from her, right? Imagine the money that she'd be leaving on the table and the potential for impact that she would be leaving on the table if she did not embrace the role of marketer as an equestrian entrepreneur herself. So what if instead you say, okay, Denise, I'm kind of on board. I think I'll go get a website. That'll be my first step, right? And I know that happens a lot. You skip the other things and say, I'm just going to go get a website. That's my first step. And then what happens is you spend thousands of dollars. So let's remember, websites are, if you're hiring someone to do your website, on the low end, you're talking $3,000, up to $7,000, $8,000, $10,000, depending on what you're asking for and how custom you're going, right? But the reality is, you're investing in your business when you hire someone to do your website. And I think it's a wise investment. That's why I do websites, because again, I see the impact that they can have on your business. I've talked before about the importance of a website. So they are important. But here's the thing. If you invest thousands of dollars in your website before you even have clarity on your messaging and your promise, who you work with, what problems you solve for them, how you're going to promote your offers. If you do not have clarity on that before you do your website, then it is literally like throwing money out the window. you're not going to get the return on investment that you would get if first you had clarity in your messaging. You know who you're talking to. You know how to write content that connects to them and moves them to take action. You cannot take your potential customers on a journey through your website if you have not yet laid out that journey and gotten clarity on where you're taking them in the first place. That's why it's so important to not skip these steps, right? So it's important to take action, but it's also important to do it in the order that's going to set you up for success. Now, similarly, many of you may be saying, okay, Denise, I'm on board with social media, but I'm just going to hire it out. I'm just going to go pay somebody to do it for me so I can just do what I love to do. And I have friends in the industry that I will refer you to that are doing a great job writing social media copy for equestrian businesses. But what I will tell you is that if you do not first get clear on what you want, on who you're asking them to write to, on the products and services that you offer and the problems that you solve, then again, you're going to be throwing money out the window. And it's not cheap. You're starting at $300 minimum for someone to do your social media, up to $700, up to $1,000, depending on what you're asking. If you're wanting them to post on your behalf, engage in the comments on your behalf, go engage with other accounts on your behalf, all of those things are important pieces of the social media puzzle. And if you're asking someone else to do that, but you cannot give them clear guidance, it is not going to benefit you in the long run. Now, certainly, there may come a time for you in your business when you want to outsource that. And I will give you referrals. I applaud that for sure. If that's where you are in your business and you want to do that. I know some very successful 6-figure plus business owners in the equestrian industry that are still doing their own social media. So it is not a requirement that you outsource it. But if you get to that point, I will give you a referral. But do not outsource your social media until you have a clear direction for your business, the problems you solve, the people you're talking to, and your messaging and the journey you're taking them on. You have to have those things figured out first. It's so important. It feeds everything else. It is the foundation for your marketing, right? Just like in the horse world, we know, right, that you have to have a good foundation on a horse, whether you're riding or training or both, right? There has to be a foundation. And it is the same for marketing your horse business. You have to have that foundation. And when you do, then you're ready to actually do the marketing, right? And that, my friends, is why I am so passionate about my Take the Reins program, my one-to-one coaching program, because I want to equip you with a customized strategic plan that you can implement on your own, right? It's not copy and paste. It's not a pre-recorded online course and content that you're going to consume and apply on your own. Take the Reins is a personalized, high-touch coaching program where I literally am walking with you twice a month on a 90-minute intensive call to create that customized marketing plan for your equestrian business. So I created it because I know that when you have a cohesive social media and website and email marketing strategy in place, then the potential for your equestrian business is huge. Because that is something that no matter the size of your business, no matter the industry, no matter the niche, that is going to serve you well. And when you have that foundation, when you have an understanding of why it matters, you have an understanding of how it works, and you literally have a plan in place to follow, then you are one step closer to building that equestrian business of your dreams. And that's what I want to help you to do. So if that sounds like something that would be a fit for you, like I said, it is my 3-month one-on-one coaching program. So we spend 3 months together really diving in. I am literally your cheerleader. I'm your encourager. But like I said, I'm also going to push you past your comfort zone to help you really make that progress. So if that sounds like something that could be a fit for you, I would love to invite you to apply. You can head over to stormlily.com/reins and learn more about my coaching program. You can learn what's included, what's going to happen on the other side, who it's for and who it's not. And then again, the link there is for applying for the program as well. So what'll happen is you apply, We get on a Zoom call together. If I think it looks like you're a good fit, we'll get together and I want to hear from you about your equestrian business goals. I want to hear from you about where you are headed in your business and how I can help you to get there through a strategic and customized marketing plan. And so if we both say, yep, this is great, then we're ready to get started and we will book that first call and we will get started making your strategic marketing plan for your horse business. All right. So again, head to stormlily.com/reins to get started. I do take a limited number of coaching clients every quarter so that I can really focus on honing in on you and your messaging and your marketing. So definitely head over there and check it out. And if you have any questions about that, or if you have questions about what I shared today in this training, please leave them in the comments below. You know, I'm absolutely here for you guys.